Yo, everybody. It's OCD Mikey. Hi-Fi Guy for some feedback, actually. This is an off the cuff video that I'm making. I don't even expect anybody to join, but maybe some of y'all will see it. This is mainly just to share my feelings after leaving jury duty. I was in jury duty all last week, and I just felt like I would share this with my audience because I've come to know you all close. You've become my friends, and so a lot of times we talk about things that are not audio. And hey, Charles, how are you, buddy? And so I wanted to talk about. I just wanted to go over the jury duty because I just got out of jury duty. Resulted in it was a double murder, a double homicide, or a double murder. Um, uh, Aggravated first degree arson and assault and battery. And it was heavy duty. And I just wanted to share my experience. I know the background's blown out over there. I can't do anything about it. I don't have a blanket for over the damn window or whatever. That's with the closed shades. It's bright. Anyways, so um, so I just got back, and I saw a young man, 31 years old. I am allowed to talk about it. Yeah, it's over with, so I can talk about it. 31-year-old man, kind of a wayward son, I guess. Not a bad kid. I call him a kid because he's kind of, immature, I guess, for his age. It seemed like. Not a bad kid, an artist, sort of, had kind of odd jobs and all that kind of stuff. Ended up with consecutive life sentences. The fucker threw his life away by making a bad decision. We convicted him on 26 felonies. He had 26 felonies. We convicted him on 6, and we said that 20 of them were, not guilty. But the 6 that he did get, actually, the 2 that he got him twin life sentences, and that was murder via arson. It was felony murder. Felony murder means a murder that occurs while you're committing a felony. It then becomes felony murder, which is above manslaughter, which would be like an accidental death, right? But felony murder is not as hardcore as malice murder, or maybe it's called capital murder in some places, where you actually plan out to kill somebody and then you carry that out. That's the highest level, right? That was not what he got. And I'll give you the background. So him and this female, whose families knew each other. They had known each other since they were kids, and they started dating. And there was a 9-year spread. So she was 19, he was 28, right, when they started dating. And they started dating and started drinking together, drinking alcohol. Bad idea, because these two were both most likely alcoholic. They abused alcohol, let's put it that way. And the first incident with the law was him, a domestic violence thing. Their story was that they were arguing at a party at her house with her mom's house. And he had gone to get away from her and went up under the carport and sat in a lawn chair and then fell asleep. And then she came up and tried to wake him up and shook him or grabbed him or whatever. And he, quote unquote, reacted and punched her in the face and, beat the living shit out of her. Okay. She doesn't remember because she was blackout. He doesn't really remember because he was probably borderline blackout or maybe blackout. But she looked like she'd been in the ring with Muhammad Ali. I mean, I saw the photos, both eyes totally sealed up shut. And a gash on her forehead, a fucking Vans print on the side of her face. He stomped on her face so hard that there was the diamond pattern from a Vans shoe on the side of her face that you could see. He fucked her up good, like, and so that he got a restraining order from that. She wanted to keep seeing him, so she and they wanted to keep seeing each other. So after the restraining order, she called and tried to get it removed. They kept seeing each other, but part of that restraining order was that he go to treatment, and he went to treatment. He got sober, and a whole year passed where there was no problem. Right? They were fine, no issues, no cops or whatever. And then she didn't stop drinking, however, but they kept going out or seeing each other. So a year later, he decides he's going to join her in drinking, and within a month of him drinking again, she's beat up again. This time she's got a crack in the back of her skull, and an open gash wound, a laceration on her skull. She's bleeding like crazy. She goes to the hospital. That gets documented. She still wants to see him. She still doesn't want to go away. He says she fell over backwards. She says he pushed her. It's he said, she said. So, it's one of these toxic, dysfunctional, alcoholic type relationships, and it's followed up by a third time where they go out, and again, they start fighting, and she ends up again with a black eye and messed up. And regardless what the story is, this is just the results of it, right? I can't go through all the details, take forever. And at that point, the mom is trying to protect the daughter, decides to revoke the bond because the guy was out on bond for his assault, the first one, right? She decides to revoke it. They tell him, they see him out at a club one night. They make the club remove him, even though he was already there. And he leaves the club. This is 3 a.m. They told him, mom's going to revoke the bond on you. You're going to be arrested. You're going to go to jail, whatever. He goes back home 3 a.m, puts his phone to charge, and then leaves his house to go, what he says was to go spray paint their house and, basically do some vandalism and whatever, make them pay for whatever. Who knows? Retaliation of some sort. So he goes over to the house. He parks his van a block away. He gets out. He goes down to the house. His story is he spray painted some shit and he took off. What happened was, and nobody knows exactly what happened because there was no camera on the scene there. But there was a Ring camera watching the dude's van pull up and parking a block away. There was a house facing the van. So you can see him pull up at 5 a.m, get out of his van with a bag in his hand, leave, come back 5 minutes later, get in his van, try and start it. And then you see him get out and run. So what had happened is this dude went to go cause mischief at the house, and he did what he did. Whether we found that he started the fire. We thought it was just according to circumstantial evidence, he put himself at the fire. He admitted that he was there. He put himself at when the fire. So 12 minutes later from the time that he arrived, we got the timestamp on the video, the Ring camera. There's a 911 call, and the house is engulfed in flames. Somehow there's been a fire set there that has been accelerated by something, and it's huge now. He had run back to his vehicle. He tried to start his van. His van wouldn't start. Talk about karma. The guy's van would not start. So he's stuck there freaking out. He's trying to crank it so hard that he snaps the key off in the ignition. And then he freaks out. I'm fucked. He gets out and he runs, and you see him run. Then you can see different businesses catch him, his path. He's going back home because he lives within like a mile they live within a mile of each other. It's their mom's house. The fire ensues, ends up killing the mom and the grandmother inside the house, along with 6 animals. Smoke inhalation. They show us the photos. They're just gruesome, man. I mean, burns and all sorts of shit. And they did not go. They were very much awake when they were dying, and they knew they were going down in flames. So it was up to us to decide if it was criminal, if he intended to start a fire or if he did start a fire. And that's where the crux, we deliberated for like 12 hours because we were stuck on whether it was a manslaughter charge or a murder charge. And that stems from whether it's arson or whether it was criminal trespass. We have to decide what is how likely is it that he went there and started a fire, or did he go there and just spray paint and then somehow a fire started a different way? Well, the arson investigators went in and they checked everything out and they said there was no accident. This is no accident. It was absolutely deliberately set by somebody and incendiary with incendiary device or whatever. Incendiary. It was an incendiary fire. It was not an electrical fire. It was not a lightning. It was not a space heater. It was incendiary. Somebody had gone there and started that shit. And so we took us 12 hours because we were 11. We were hung. 11 of us. I think it's called a hung jury. I don't know what a hung jury means. If it means if there's one defector, if that's what it means. But there was one of us. We are all like, no, man, this isn't just coincidence. We think the guy went there and started the fire. We didn't think that he intended to kill anybody. So we took malice murder off. But we did think, okay, he was responsible for that fire. And so we found him guilty of arson in the first degree, which felony murder follows that, because somebody died in the commission of a felony, arson being that felony of trying to burn a place down with people in it. It's a different charge. If you burn a shed in the backyard, just an empty building or something like that, a business or something like that, an empty building, it's different than if you let Craig's calling in. I'm wondering if he knows that we've got a live stream. Let's bring him in here. Whoops. Oh, it went away. Let's see if he's trying to call in. Are you trying to call in to stream? Let me see. So we decided, and then because he got felony murder, the pets, the 6 counts of aggravated cruelty to animals, because they put aggravated in there, we didn't allow it, because aggravated indicates malice. That means he intended to kill animals. I don't think, and we didn't think that he intended to kill the animals. They were just, if they would have not made it aggravated cruelty to animals, they would have just made it cruelty to animals, the charges would have stuck. But since it was aggravated, which indicates malice, we didn't allow it. We said not guilty. And then we gave him the assault for that first beating, assault and battery. And then he got one other assault charges for one of the other ones. One of them we let go because it was too inconclusive. They couldn't prove to us. We didn't feel like it was strong proof that she could have fallen backwards. We just felt. So he got 20 years for each of those assault things, man. I mean, it was not light sentencing. And then he got a life sentence and a life sentence, and they put him consecutively, not concurrently, which means it's not just one life sentence for killing 2 people. It's 2, one after the other. So if you get one, whatever, you admonished or something like that, you still got another one to have to try and work on. So in other words, it's much less likely that you're going to get out if you have 2 life sentences in a row, because you get the first one removed, then you got a whole nother one to look at. So it was hard. It was hard. I cried. I was crying in there. I wasn't just sobbing, but I was teared up, and tears were coming down my eyes. First, when it was a mother and daughter. The 2 women that were in there were a mother and a daughter. And then the granddaughter was the one that lived there that was dating this guy. And so the daughter, who was 50 something years old, the grandmother was 70 something years old. her brother, this guy that was 56 years old, came in. He came up to the stand and he started talking about he lost his mother and his grandmother. I'm sorry, his mother and his sister, both in that same fire. 56-year-old man up there bawling. You know, I couldn't hold it back. I'm like, I felt this guy's pain. It was horrible. I'm like, this poor guy, man. He loved his mother and his sister, and they were both taken in this one shot. And they were good people. He described more about, we knew about the mother and the grandmother, and they were good people. They tried to help some of these kids. That it was kind of a flop house. A lot of kids hung out there, but that was because these were kids that had maybe came from families that were messed up. And so this grandmother and mother sort of were like kind of house mom for these wayward kids, tried to help them. You know, one guy came and gave testimony where she did help him. You know, he started his own business, repairing cars and all that kind of stuff. And she was there for him through the loss of his mother. So they were good people, you know, and loved in the community. They worked at a local, well, the mother, not the grandmother, but the mother worked at a local bar, kind of like Cheers or something like that, a bar restaurant. A lot of people knew her. She was loved by many. And here's this kid, you know, he looks like he could just be some regular partier, you know, that just because of, I'm gonna blame it. Well, because of his own bad decisions is really the bottom line. But you know, you start drinking. I can relate to being young and being in my 20s, my late 20s, back when I was drinking still, and just being an idiot and just doing stupid shit, violent or aggressive acts or behaviors. And I was like, wow, this kid, he just made the wrong decision and it dominoed out of control. And now he's fucking going to die in prison. So when she read the sentencing, I was actually surprised. I'm thinking he's going to get 20 years for this. He got consecutive life sentences. I was like, you got to be kidding me. And then 20 years for the assault. I was like, holy shit. Since when do you get 20 years for assault? That seems like a lot. I mean, can't people get 20 years for murder? Maybe it's different in this state. Maybe this is a tougher state. Like California, you'd get off. You could murder somebody and get 20 years, I think, in California. What do you think, Charles? You know, but not the same in Georgia, evidently. And so when she read the sentences, and then I was thinking this and I was relating to my dumbass when I was in my late 20s and drinking and doing stupid shit with the, you know, girls that I was dating where we were both drinking and arguing and just having these altercations and shit like that so many times. I never tried to start anything on fire, but this kid did, and he made a stupid decision. And, you know, it's just the result was exponential consequence of his actions. And it's unbelievable how I was lucky. I got away with shit. Of course, look, I never beat girls up like that. I never lit fires or did anything hardcore like that. But I certainly was destructive, broke shit and whatever back in the day when I was a derelict alcoholic drinker, you know? And so it's heavy, man. It's weighing heavy on me. It was intense. I saw, you know, the guy that gave the testimony that was the son of the victims, you know, he thanked us for finding the guy guilty, the defendant guilty. I went out afterwards and there was the defendant's family was standing on the corner smoking cigs, and I came up to them and said, "Hey, I'm sorry. You know, my heart goes out to you. Robert doesn't look like he's a bad kid, but he made a bad decision and we had to apply the rule of law. You know, I'm really sorry about that. Sorry, you know." And they were like, "Yeah, we're sorry too. You know, thanks for coming over and saying that. You know, it means a lot to us." It's heavy. This whole last week and the week before, I've basically paused my business. My business has been on hold. My whole focus and energy was on this case so that I did a good job. And you know, looking back on it, it was like I actually it was a very valuable experience. If any of you all get picked for jury duty, I would suggest not trying to avoid it. My first instinct, because you tell people you got jury duty, everybody's like, "Oh, bummer, what a drag." And I'm like, my first instinct, I started Googling, how to dress to not get picked for jury duty. I mean, I actually didn't want to get picked because of just what I'd heard that it was a drag. But then when I went there, they brought us in when they were still deciding who they were going to pick, and they read the 26 felonies. I'm like, holy shit! I'm too interested. Now I got to figure out like what's the defense out of this shit. Like how are they in talk their way? Plus, it was like it's civil duty, right? It's something that and it's the cornerstone of what makes the United States great is our court systems that people get fair trials. So I really wanted to partake in that, and in the end, it was I felt good and connected to society in a way that I haven't felt in a long time. I don't know if, unless you volunteer or do something like that, just in our everyday lives, many times it's very self-serving. We're just taking care of us and our own keep, right? Um, so to do that was I don't know the word for it. It felt good. I would recommend everybody try it. If you do get picked, don't try and get out of it. Just go do your civic duty and partake in the American system. Yeah, it's not perfect. It's broken in many ways and it's fucked up, but to go there and give your best feels good. To give your best to know that you did what was fair. We acquitted him on 20 felonies and we gave him 6. So a judge came in and she said, you did a really good job. You guys did very well. You were very just in the way you applied the law. You did it in a smart manner. You were very easy to work with. You guys are a very like a very attentive jury. She was like, you guys are not like the other juries. You guys were really good, and thank you for that. We even hugged the judge on the way out. She was standing on our way out, and each one of us gave her a hug. You know, I told her, good job, that it must be hard to do what you do. I gave her a big hug and she hugged back, a good hug, a squeeze, it was like, these are real people. Even when the system seems fucked up, it's us. It's us. It's in many times it seems like it's them, you know. But at least in the court systems, I really felt like it was us. There was a real human connection with the system, which was I don't normally encounter. And so I appreciated it and I valued it. It was I don't know, I'm moved by it. I'm moved by it. If I was ever to have done a professional college job, where you go to college and do after college and get your doctorate or whatever, your law degree, I probably would have done something like this. I probably would have been in the courtroom. It's very compelling and strategic and interesting. Um, it's very tactical, very strategic. So it was very interesting. Let me go back and I'm gonna bring up some of your comments. And if anybody wants to call in, you guys can call in. Hey Mikey, just heading into a case. Good to see you. Tommy, are you an attorney? Are you allowed to talk about this? Oh yeah, I think I am once it's over. Was it a compulsion for him to do the arson or did he do the arson to kill someone? No. I don't even think my personal feeling on this is that he went with a spray can and a lighter and he went to fuck up the upholstery in the car. This is what I think he did. He went in there and he sprayed it and somehow the shit started on fire or it was smoldering or something and he took off and something that was in the car continued to burn. And then the car caught on fire and then the car it got engulfed in flames. Now, it could have been worse. We don't know what was in the looked like a bag or something that he was carrying. He was carrying something. It could have been gasoline, that he was carrying. It wasn't clear. We were looking from a ways away and a Ring camera on someone's door, and it was black and white, and it was rainy out. But for that fire to start in a rainy situation, a rainy evening like that, there had to have been accelerant of some sort. So I think he started the car. He was just trying to, and he admitted, I went there to damage property. He told us that. I went there with the intent to spray paint their shit and write something on the house. Be it, that's what he admitted to. So that put him there at that time at the fire. Then he took off, and then he doesn't know how this fire started. So we don't think that he intended to kill anybody. I think that he went there to fuck shit up. He went to burn some stuff, and accidentally he started a fire. He may have went to hit it with the thing, and something ignited in the back seat, like maybe there was a can of tranny fluid or something in the back, of the car. There was burnt aerosol cans that were in the back of the car that we could see from the remnants of the fire. And so I think it got out of control, and he went, holy fuck, and he took off, or he did his damage and then he took off, and he didn't know that it had started a fire, but he definitely knew shortly thereafter because fire trucks were going by and ambulances and stuff. And then the very next day, he committed himself to a mental health facility, in his words, because he was afraid of retaliation from these guys. From what? From the fire? Why would they think that you did the fire if you really didn't do the fire? If you really didn't do the fire and you were there and you saw the fire, why didn't you run back and try and save a person, right? So it just didn't fit, that the evidence and everything, we felt right with what we did, but we don't think he went there to kill anybody. We think he was going there to just damage some shit, and then, oh shit, it's a fire, I got to get out of here, or yeah, I got the fire burning in the car, I'm going to take off. But how you start a car on fire in a carport, it was half in the carport, half out the carport. It was actually, so you got to know it's going to start the carport on fire. He could claim, he could say, well, I didn't know it was going to, maybe he started the fire in the car thinking the car would just burn, but it would be contained to the car. Maybe that was part of the thing too, but he fucked up, and he fucked up bad. I mean, it dominoed out. I mean, and bad karma started hitting one, right? I mean, this guy was destined for, and then 12 hours after the fire, or 10 hours after the fire, he got a tattoo over his eye. This guy had no facial tattoos that said no future. That was what was on he got that same day as the fire. So it's just too many coincidences. The behavior and the things around it were just too strange. So it wasn't premeditated. The damage to the house was premeditated. The vandalism, let's say, or criminal mischief was intended, premeditated. But the fire, we didn't think the fire was premeditated necessarily. We didn't think he went there to start the house on fire, because it started at the car. 3 experts said it started at the vehicle. So we think he just went to damage the vehicle. Yeah, that's not going to work. One sober, the other not. No, you got to get away from it. If he was a sharp guy, or he wasn't hung on the punani, or whatever it was that made him keep coming back to her, when she didn't stop and he got sober, he should have just said bye. I don't want to deal with the drama of a drunken, woman. But he hung out there. It was a bad choice for him to stay there, because then he started drinking and he got sucked right back in, and then bam, did karma hit hard. No, I don't like Chinese hi-fi. And I think Gustard is Chinese, so I don't like it. And I don't like it because I don't like the politics of China, that they oppress their people. It has nothing to do with it. I think it's cheap shit Chinese stuff. But it kind of is anyways, but that's not why I don't like Chinese stuff. What's up, Shane? Todd says, hey, seriously, you talking about hi-fi as he tells, somebody doesn't know. Ketchup, we've never seen this guy before, so he doesn't know what's going on here. He's coming here because it says OCD hi-fi guy, but he has no idea that I'm talking to my fam right now. You guys are my family, so I'm sharing my experience at court for jury duty, where we just gave a guy, we didn't, the judge gave the sentencing. We convicted him, and she gave him consecutive life sentences for being an idiot, which is really sad. Hey, Carl, we got love going around. Hey, Todd, does this impact any appeals he might launch? They did not remove he got twin life sentences without, they did not impose without possibility of parole. The prosecution wanted no parole possibility, but the judge granted possibility of parole, which I think happens in 30 years. So if they're eligible for parole in 30 years and you've got consecutive life sentences, that means 60 years. So even if he's eligible for parole, he's going to be in for 60 years minimum, and the guy's 30 right now, he's going to die there, Catch up just got here. Yeah, I understand, dude. I know that you're new. You're new. It's a hi-fi. It's a hi-fi show. It's the Mikey show is what it is. So it's not a hi-fi show. This is the Mikey show. I am a hi-fi expert, but I am deeper than just hi-fi. My interests and my experience are far greater than hi-fi. So I discuss them with people, even though I'm on YouTube as OCD hi-fi guy. Eventually I could just change it to OCD Mikey, the Mikey show, and I just talk about shit because, hi-fi is narrow, and I like to talk about more than just hi-fi, because hi-fi it's a tool, and I'd rather talk about music. I am a hi-fi professional, however, and I am a hi-fi dealer. I do sell it. Normally Mikey talks about hi-fi, but he's talking about jury duty. Yeah, correct. And normally this is not when I do my live streams. I just did this off the whim. I didn't even announce it, nothing. I came back from jury duty and I'm like, okay, I'm just feeling this right now, and I want to share my feelings when I'm feeling them, right? That's when I make videos for you guys. And you know that from my history, like when I make hi-fi videos and I'm feeling something and I'm pissed and I just heard a story. I mean, I want to make a video of, somebody sent me a package today with a ST glass fiber cable. He knows that I use Playback Designs. He's one of the tribe. He sent me a ST glass fiber cable to try compared to the one that comes from the factory. And he said, here, try this, man. I think it might be a little better. Tell me if you hear anything. Here's a guy that he didn't ask me to do it. He just sent me. This is a smart guy. He just sent it to me. I didn't even know it was coming. That's how you need to deal with Mikey. You don't talk and ask and send an email and see if you get a response and all that shit. You just send it here, or you call my ass and tell me some shit's happening, right? I mean, that's how I function. So he sent it and said, listen to it and then let me know. And then at the same time, he said, there is a company out there called Audio Symphonic Audio. I can find out for you, but it's a guy up in the Northeast who sells an ST glass fiber cable for $8,000 fucking dollars. Okay, excuse my F word. $8,000 for a glass fiber. Now, there's only like one company that makes Corning glass fiber, or maybe what's the other one? AT&T. But I think it falls back on Corning, so there's only one manufacturer of that stuff. So there isn't, we're going to test now to see if there's any difference between what he sent me and the one that Andreas gives from Playback Designs, which is a $5 cable. This one that he sent me is maybe $15, something like that. So we'll see. It's a little fatter. It has a different outer jacket. So we'll see if it makes any difference. I just don't think you get loss in cables that are fiber optic unless they're like, a mile long or something. Then you might get some loss. But in a 1 meter fiber optic cable, I don't think there's any loss regarding, if you change materials. But we'll see, and we'll listen, and I'll give you guys results. So he said Audio Symphonic, Audio Symphonic, I think is, I can find where he wrote it down. $8,000 for one of these cables, which is ridiculous. To me, there is absolutely nothing that you can do to a glass fiber. Maybe I'm wrong, but I can't foresee. Remember, I'm a cable builder first. I have a patent in cable connector design. That's my first hat. My first skill is designing cables. So I know how to make shit. So there's nothing that I can even think of for a second that would make Corning glass fiber worth $8,000. Yet the guy sells it. And herein lies the total larceny of our industry and how ridiculous it is, and why people don't take it serious is because of shitbags. Maybe the guy's great, but I'm going to say shitbag product. Okay. I'm not going to call the guy a shitbag because I don't know him. But shitbag products like an $8,000 ST glass fiber, you know, I've priced it out. There's nothing in there. Now, if that cable was pure solid gold, then it might be $8,000. Okay. But when it's glass fiber, it's fucking not. Okay. Or even close. Again, excuse my F word, but I'm feeling it. So I'm not going to cover that up. And you don't have to listen to me if you don't like swearing. I don't do it that often, but when I feel strong, I do. So, so I wanted to make a video. So how that segued into this is when I feel like I come to you guys because you're my family when I feel something and I'm feeling something and I want to share. So when I read that thing about the glass fiber, I was feeling something like, what an asshole, $8,000 for a Corning glass. Like we can debunk this in 2 seconds, And I'm like, I can make a video, go to this guy's website, go onto the thing. We can read the stupid marketing together, see if he even offers any marketing, and try and see what this guy and just, make fun of a stupidity product. However, I know you guys love that when I do that, but in the end, it's not necessarily positive, right? I'm just exposing the negative. I'm just showing you the ugly side. And if I always just show you the ugly side of the industry, I know you guys appreciate it and I'll still do it from time to time, but I'm just not as high on always making this dramatic, oh my God, fear mongering is really what it is. And by doing that, I'm partaking in what, the normal typical media does, fear mongering. So I'm sort of, not that. Look, you guys have given me your vote of confidence. I am selling more than I ever have in my life. My house will be paid off next month. I have zero debt. It's like, I don't need to be aggressive. I'm well fed. I'm well kept. I'm well taken care of. You guys have given me your vote of confidence and you're putting your trust in me and I'm delivering for you guys. I'm providing phenomenal audio systems. And that's all I want to do. That's all I need to do. I think in the beginning, I needed to expose a lot of things and show you guys I was willing to do it. That was an example of Mikey's willing to put his nuts on the table and not and go against the industry norm and not Mikey's not one of the establishment. That was more to show you how I'm not an establishment guy. I actually stand for you, the buyer. I stand on your side rather than on the establishment side. The establishment side would sell you an $8,000 ST cable. And this guy's probably even fringe anyways. There's probably no reason. He's probably operating out of his freaking garage and he's selling $8,000 cables. Give me a break. There's no way he's operating like AudioQuest or like Synergistic or like even Stealth, So anyways, yeah, so that's so I talked to you guys about whatever we feel like talking about. Yes, it was intent to harm. I don't know that he intended to harm people, but when it's at a house, that's when it's different than if it's a building or if you're just scratching a car. If soon as you employ fire and you're near a house, bad juju. You should not put those two together ever because it just you're cruising for a bruising that way, You sound somewhat relieved today. Yes, I am. Last night it seemed you had a lot on your mind and somewhat stressed. I was because we were at an impasse. We were blocked and we weren't. One lady was holding out and she couldn't see. She was relating it. She has 3 boys that are in their late 20s, right? They're good boys. They're going, they're going to college and they're going to be, professionals, yeah. But she can just relate because they have some friends that are idiots that do stupid shit. So she's got this soft spot in her heart for idiot boys because she's got 3 good boys, but she knows some of their friends are idiots. So we're like, look, you can't involve your emotion and your heart in making this. You need to apply the law based on the evidence. That's as far as you can go. You can't put in your opinion or what you think might have happened or whatever. You can't do that. Or the fact that you think he's probably a good boy, because I know, he called himself an artist. He's an artist and, whatever. But so she's like, he's just an artist and he took his paints over there to paint something. And we're like, no. It was a little more than that. He was really trying to mess things up and it got out of hand. It's like when malintent happens, it's like the devil's there. That's kind of how I look at it. And I'm not trying to be religious, but I don't know any other way to describe it other than evil forces are with that dude when he's going out to do malintent. And that's in his mind. He's going to fuck some shit up at the house, whether it's paint or whatever. The devil's riding on his shoulder, man. And the devil doesn't have any, he doesn't care about you. He wants you dead so he can take your soul or whatever the fuck. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. I don't believe that, right? I'm just trying to paint a picture. So the devil's bad energy is with you. Let's put it that way. Bad karma's riding on your shoulder. And then you go and you try and I'm just going to make a little fire. But whoa, lo and behold, some shit explodes all of a sudden and you didn't plan on it. Well, because you had bad intent and you were fucking with fire, devil decided he was going to blow on that shit. And then it gets huge and you're like, oh my God, fucking A, I got to run. The rest is history. It's like if you didn't make those decisions, you wouldn't have those consequences. And this guy he ruined the rest of his life. And it's so sad. You're like, he had a year of sobriety. He could have done it, but he just made a bad decision. And now he's got 2 life sentences. Fire was blazing like crazy, dude. It's crazy. It melted shit to the ground. We just don't have the depth of thinking and consequence when we are that young, or when we're drunk and that young, or if we're drunk and that young and we don't really have parents that steer us right. So we're left to try and figure shit out from the other homeless kids, or not homeless, but the other parentless kids that just become little derelicts, And then when you're a little derelict, you need to some way have clarity and figure your way out of it so that you don't end up as a derelict or end up in prison like this kid. But if you don't get a clue at some point and you go into your 30s still being a derelict, you're cruising for a bruising. Like I said, man, you're prison or death is coming. It's on the way. You just been doing it for too long. Best DAC, MPD8. That's an easy one, Maurice. You should know that, buddy. Maybe you don't watch my channel. Playback Designs MPD8. Absolutely the best DAC. And I've compared it to $80,000 DACs. I've heard it against $100,000 DACs. And it's only 26. It's the best one that I've heard. California is a super majority state, which is light on crime. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking. When she said life, I was like, holy shit. I honestly thought he was going to get 20 years for everything. I thought everything combined all together, the kid's going to get 20, 28 years, something like that. She said life, and then life again, and then plus 20 years, plus 20 years, plus 20 years. But then she ran the 20. She had 4 different things to give him 20 years on. She made those concurrent rather than consecutive. The life sentences were consecutive. She melted all the other ones together into 20 years. So there's no way that kid's getting out. He's got life, and then 20. I mean, there's no way you're gonna parole out of that unless you're just exemplary. And even then, that doesn't come up until 60 years. So angry young man kicking his can. Yeah, that's for sure. He definitely was violent, man. I mean, the way this gal looked, I mean, and she's little, 5 foot tall, waif, thin, man. He pummeled her ass. Crime is taken seriously in the Deep South. Yeah, thank God. Tragic. I appreciate your attitude and spirit. Blessings. Thanks, Bruce. Appreciate it, man. Sounds like he also had many second chances. He at least had one that we knew about. He had one that was very obvious because he got sober and there was no problems for a full year. And then, and this shit happened on Valentine's Day. It's weird that now it's happening again on Valentine's Day because the first assault took place on Valentine's Day 2022. Then he got sober. Then Valentine's Day 2023, there was another thing. So for a whole year, there was nothing. And then March 20, the fire was March 12th, 2023. So it shows you within 30 days, there were 2 more assaults and then a fire. So it's like when he came back to drink, that shit was hyperspeed. It was like consequences were on hyperspeed. And if he didn't take the two beatings after he got after when he stopped when he started drinking again, and then there were two more assaults after that where he beat her into a bad shape, and cops were involved in hospital and shit like that. If he didn't take that as a sign to stop drinking, and he kept drinking, and then he went with intent to fuck some shit up, hate to say it, but the kid was asking for it, and it was delivered. Young and dumb is part of life. Some make worse decisions than the others. Yeah, and some have. I think when you're given a chance and you get on the right path, and then you decide to be bad after. Again, I'm going to use the word God because I don't know a better term for it. But when God gives you a chance to be good and clean your act up, and then you decide, fuck you, God, I'm going to ride with the devil. If again, I'm not a religious guy, but I don't know how else to. I'm just trying to put it in like cartoons that you can imagine in your head. I'm going to ride with the devil. Then shit, man. I can speak from my experience when I was drinking and then I stopped drinking. I went through a period where I would stop and start because I was trying to figure it out. I was thinking, oh, maybe I just drink beer and I can prevent things from happening. Maybe I can just only drink after 6, maybe only every other day, maybe. And I was trying to figure out the combination and I never did. Finally, I had to give it up. But when I started to get away with things, the thing that made me stop was I had a succession of incidents where I'd gotten away with things. And it was like 3 in a row where cops pulled me over, actually let me go. Like I didn't get DUI. It was like, oh my God, I can't believe I got away with that last night. Like those kind of things. I was like, I better stop now because of how many things I'm getting away with. When I do hit a consequence, it's going to be severe. I'm going to run somebody over. I'm going to kill somebody. It's going to be something gnarly. So I stopped because I was like, I'm getting away with too much shit. I didn't trust it. It was like I didn't trust it. It's like those were signs. A cop stops you and doesn't give you a DUI when you're drunk as shit. That is a sign. Get your shit together. That's God sending a sign. You're not being arrested. Here's a sign that bad shit is, the vapor is around you, and it hasn't taken yet. So get a clue. But if you ignore those signs, man, that's when shit happens. That's when it gets really bad. Don't think I can do jury duty. Why not? Do the crime, serve the time. Proud of your civic duty, Mikey. Thanks, Dan. Yeah, it's very, very interesting. And, it was, again, it was moving. I wouldn't be making a damn video about it if I wasn't moved by it. It was intense in many ways. I cried, at the end, because I felt so horrible. It was just a bad scene, so many people hurt, lives destroyed. Just, it was just ugly. And the judge was really cool. She came back, she talked with us, she was, and I don't know. It was just a good thing, man. Good thing. Dude, you're brave talking to the defendant's family. Yeah. We didn't put him away because he was a bad kid or we thought he was fucked up or an asshole. It was, look, the kid fucked some shit up. He made some mistakes, man. I mean, they knew it. They weren't upset. They were like, thanks for coming over. Yeah, it's too bad, but you did a good job. I mean, that's like, that was their thing. But I didn't feel like, we're all just regular people, violence is something that is is a minority, right? I think generally speaking, we're non-violent. Humans just want to find common ground and get along. I think it's an anomaly to be violent and cause fighting. So I just trusted that they were regular people. They seemed like it. So I talked to them and they were regular people. I've done it twice here in Australia. Okay. So you know what it's like. I was on a 2.5 month court case. Holy shit. 9 felonies and 2.5. So that must have been federal, right? High drama. The dude got 25 years, intense experience, no regrets, do your civic duty. Yeah, totally. So he got 20 years for 25 years for 9 felonies. This guy got consecutive life sentences for 6 and then 20 years. Was it federal? Why was it 2.5 months? That's a long time, man. What took so long? 26 felonies. I know they loaded it, man. They loaded it. Yeah, I think justice was served. Trying to say you feel gratified, um, doing your social civic duty. True. That's exactly what I'm saying. I think I communicated that. I understand what you mean, Mikey. I work in a nursing home, so I work very close to life and death, and I help very sick people in need, and that leaves you with good feelings inside. That's a real gift. Yeah, I mean, what you do, man, with people in the last bit of their life is hugely appreciated, and it's revered to me. Like, I don't think I could do that. I could do the jury duty and shit like that, but constantly, because these old people will abuse your ass. They don't know any better. They're going senile. They'll punch you and scratch you, and you got to wipe their ass, and then they're spitting on you and pissing on you and whatever. It's takes a special person to do what you do, David. So good on you, man. People like you are extremely important for the families. For some of them, maybe some people forget their old folks, but for me, the people that took care of my mom when she was, but she was never in a nursing home, and I I was her caretaker in the end. But it's very important. Same with like hospice, man. What hospice people do is very commendable. Was there any forensic evidence in the case? Yeah, there was. It was thin. Like, I mean, we had to go on circumstantial because there really wasn't any proof. There was a dog that hit tolerant, but it was really weak. It wasn't strong. Um, they didn't have any strong direct evidence. They call that. Um, they had phone calls. They had actions of him on camera, leaving, being there, getting a tattoo. Putting himself in the mental facility right afterwards, which looks like he's trying to dodge something. He's freaking out. What do I do? I'll go into the funny farm, and I'll hide out there, and maybe they won't find me in here or whatever, or maybe I can claim insanity. Maybe they'll say that I'm crazy in here, and I can use that as a defense. You never know what he's thinking, but it's all just weird shit. Consecutive life sentences. Yes. Who was this guy? He's just a kid, man. He's a 31-year-old kid. He looked like just any regular. He had long hair, goatee, and a beard, stash, and a goatee. He looked like just like you'd imagine, like a computer hacker kind of kid. Pale, probably because he's been in jail for a year. But kind of just looks like, if you saw him on the street, you'd go, that kid's a troublemaker, but he wasn't like scary, like some gang member. He didn't like look like I wouldn't, if I saw him on the street, I'd go, that kid's a derelict, but I wouldn't be like, oh shit, that's a fucking murderer. You know what I mean? Some dudes with the tats on their neck, they fully look like gang members and they're gnarly, scary, but he just looked like a kind of a derelict. He looked like he smoked weed and liked to party and smoke weed and whatever, white guy, kid and 31 years old. So how did jury duty go? That's what I'm talking about. Did you get selected? Yes, I did get selected. My life has been on pause for the last 2 weeks. Did you want to be selected for it? I did, as a matter of fact. I know a lot of people who are into this. It's fascinating how it works. And then you're thrown into a group of strangers, and you guys you become a team, and you become a force, you become a family, and it's cool. I look forward to seeing everybody every day. They're brand new strangers that I'd never met in my life, all different walks of life. We had an Asian mom, we had a white lady mom, we had two Mexicana, a Mexicana mom and a Puerto Rican mom, a black mom, an Indian dude, a white red-haired jock dude who is from kind of an affluent family here. Me, another, I don't think she was a mom, a married woman, another black dude athlete. We had just a very eclectic mix of people. It's like they just pick all sorts of different walks of life and whatever. And we teamed up to perform a function, and you have to do it quick. So it's like you don't know these people immediately. You're put to task. So it was a cool thing. 8K, no way. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm thinking. I agree, Mikey. It's light and it's glass fiber. I can't imagine there's any degradation in that means of data transport. Yeah, what I'm getting at is for an ST glass cable, all you need is a $5 cable. You don't need anything more. There's no improvement you're going to get from something. That's my theory. Now I'm about to test it and see somehow is there better ST glass fibers than others. If there is, it's only in the outside jacket. And then what makes an outside jacket $8,000? Unless it's a gold outside jacket, which it's not from this other dude. But basically, what the reason why they market at 8,000 is so they can hopefully sell it for 4,000 when they make it for $5. They want to hope, I'll give you half off and you can have it. Okay, I'll give you $3,800, and it's like a $5 thing that they slipped an outer jacket on to make it look like they made it. There's no way this guy makes that shit, because I think you need special machines to terminate the end of glass fiber. Now, it could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it involves special tooling, that melt. I don't know. I'd have to look in it. I've never even looked into manufacturing it. But I'll tell you more as I find out more. Hi, Mike. Before I retired, I spent time as a state prosecutor. Okay, so you've seen everything, and a federal prosecutor. Sounds like a tough case. Thank you for your service. Thank you for yours, man. I saw the job. What blows me away about this whole deal is how expensive it is to put away a derelict. Like, this guy went out, a drunk kid went out to a house to tag it, was what he said, but we think to cause criminal mischief. Okay. And a fire started, however it started. And then he runs away, and all of a sudden there's 2 dead people. And now we've got the state that needs to prosecute this shit. So the state spends an inordinate amount of money getting experts and people to come out there and examine the scene and take all these photos and all these samples. And then they take the samples out to a laboratory and they do gas chromatography and they do all these different tests, and all this shit costs money. So to try this guy, I'm imagining it had to be at least $100,000 to get this guy in, to get him into court, just to the point where we're deliberating on his ass. You know what I mean? Even just us, there was 14 of us in there. There's 2 extras that are like, whatever they call them, the extra people that if something happens to one of the jurors, they got backup, two backups, and they pull those guys out right before we deliberate. But so they bought us lunch every day. So that's, a dozen people, $10 each. So let's say it's a couple $100 each day. Then they're paying us a measly $50 a day. But you look at it with everybody in there, that's what, $600 for 12, 700 because it's 14. So 700 a day. We were there for 2 weeks. It adds up. And then you think of all the experts and everybody that they paid, and then all the time and the effort and the paperwork and all that shit just to apply the law to somebody. It's pretty wild. It's a lot of money and it's a lot of time and it's a lot of effort. But it's the only way you can really do it in a fair manner, because the second you start automating that shit, then it's fucked up. Then you got robots like grabbing your ass and yanking you out of the bed, and like you're going into a robot court, like that would be a nightmare, but you never know how things are going to go. But yeah, your job is not easy, man. I saw the state prosecutor up there and how he's trying his best to get 26 freaking felonies, and we give him 6, but I think it was enough. It was enough that justice was served. DH Labs Glassmaster, good quality, prefer over coaxial. Yeah, cool, man. Is it an ST glass fiber or is it Toslink? No debt is both biblical and in balance with the cosmos. Free your mind and free yourself. Yeah, free your mind. I prefer to say free your mind and your ass will follow. You know where that's from. Were you the jury foreman? I was not. No, we picked another guy. I'm glad I wasn't, man. I'm glad I was. He did a very good job at wrangling the crew. He did. I'm not, he was a manager in normal life. He's a manager. So it shows. I'm not a manager and I don't like managing people. I'm a good team player. I'm a good leader, but I don't like to manage, you know. I want to just lead and just be like the cheerleader or whatever, you know. Healthcare headed into a procedure. Oh, you're going in. Oh, okay. I thought, okay. Oh, I got you. So you're getting one or you're performing one? The devil is always trying to trick us into defying God. That is what he do. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And you can put different names in for devil and God, and it's the same thing. You could say the ego is always trying to trick us into defying self, our higher self, and that is what it does. You know, there you have to understand that God, for me, God and devil are interchangeable words. They're synonymous with many other words. It's a concept of bad and good is what it is. Devil is just a name and a vision, a cartoon character, right? God maybe is the same thing, you know, a guy with a beard up in a cloud or something like that. But you can name it whatever. And this is a we can really get into a conversation on that. You know, we could contemplate the possibility that God is us unified, that we are God when we all of us together, not just individually, but unified. We are God consciousness. We create all that is, because all that is in within our own perspective, you know. So it's a heavy, you know, it's a heavy concept that we are conscious co-creators, but it's cool shit. It's a whole other thing. Was he intoxicated when he set the fire? Yeah, yeah, for sure. They were out drinking. I don't know how intoxicated he was driving. He drove up there. He wasn't stumbling when we saw him get out of his car. You know, but I don't I he had a history of drinking. He didn't when we saw him come though, I saw him walk, he didn't look like he was stumbling at all. He was maybe hammered a bit, but he wasn't just, you know, shit faced. Really makes you think about your younger years. Yeah, it did. I had an angel protect my ass. So did I. I feel like that truly. Things get real when you do a lot of stinking thinking and alky shit. Just talk God. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Um, that's for sure. You can't give fuel to the addict. I believe in the sixth sense. Like we all have five basic senses. Six for me is like the brain, intuition, voices, signs you feel and hear. Sometimes the thing you dream beforehand. For sure. The ether, you know? It's like following signs and just intuition and just knowing, doing the next right thing that you know is right. It's in the heart. It's not in the mind. If you follow the heart, you're better off than if you follow your mind. Your mind is a trickster. It's like a fucking coyote. You know, it will trick you. There's the mind is an ugly neighborhood, man. The heart is much better. Mikey, what's the defendant's immediate reaction to the verdict? He no reaction, man. He just stood looking at it like he was expecting it, you know. And then he looked up and he kind of like had this smirk, this smile. But I didn't look at it. I didn't receive it as if he were happy. I received it as if he were feigning like, it's okay, everybody. I'm fine, man. I'm okay. Like it's all good. I got this. You know, I think like he was in 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 my little, you know, story maker, you know, upstairs. It's like like he's pretending to be a big man. So he's smiling to just be like, I'm gonna be the tough guy, you know, that I smile at this shit. When I'm given a life sentence, I'm gonna smile, you know. He wasn't showing it, but that shit is gonna hit his ass when he puts his head on his pillow tonight. He's gonna be like, motherfucker. But he may have known. I mean, he's been sitting in jail for a year, and you're talking to other convicts in there, and they're probably telling you, oh, dude, you're getting a life sentence. You're getting a life sentence. So maybe he came in there expecting that. You know, I have no idea. Any takeaways or life lessons from this jury experience? Yeah, there was several. One is the system is comprised of other people just like you. That's one. The other was um, consider um, fire around your house, and do not leave things out or facilitate any situations which may make fire accelerate, like cans of paint or whatever, things like that. Don't keep them in your house, right? Or gasoline, keep them out in an outbuilding or something like that would be an example. Don't keep a bunch of ammunition under your bed, things like that or whatever. I mean, obviously, I don't think a fire is going to get to ammo and you're still asleep and where it goes off. But that was one. Keep cameras on your house. Totally something that I thought from this. I already have cameras around my house, but it just shows how important it is. If there were cameras at that house, this dude would have been totally busted. Like, we got as close as you could to it with the neighbor's cameras, seeing him at the scene and then putting him there, but you couldn't see him lighting it. This way, it would have been a lock, stocked, and done if you would have seen him lighting some shit. So keep cameras at your house. Um, what else? Don't neglect your children. Realize that your children, if you don't teach your children, the kids at school are going to, or the kids that are, skipping class are going to. Make sure you're there for your children. Make sure you give your children love and compassion, and teach them and give them the tools that they need to make the proper decisions. Give them love, because then hopefully they'll respect you. If you come from a point of love, then they're going to listen. If they don't respect you, they're not going to listen. Um, don't abuse alcohol. Abusing alcohol is a one-way street to death. Either you kill somebody or you die. Alcohol abuse is a horrible thing. Um, um, I mean, yeah, I mean, anything else I would say would be getting, like, if I was trying to, these are general things. I mean, if you're talking to a derelict, you'd say, don't ever fucking bring fire near a house. If you're gonna damage some shit, don't use fire, because that is gonna turn the consequences into something far heavier than you even want to deal with. Don't involve fire. Beat somebody up maybe if you really need to do something violent, but don't start any fires, because it's a whole different level of severity. But that's and embrace your civic duty. Embrace your civic duty. What makes the United States, our country, our beloved country, so beautiful is the fact that we have the court system and we have justice. This does not happen in other countries. You're not innocent until proven guilty. So be responsible, do your civic duty. If you get a summons to go to jury duty, embrace it and do it. And you'll learn something. It'll be a worthwhile experience. I'm telling you, it was for me. We should all take our civic duty as importantly as you have. Thanks. Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, how can you say you're an American and you love the country and then you try and weasel out on your civic duty? You can't. You can't fucking do that. And I love this country. You guys know I do. You hear me talk about it. I'm a patriot to the fucking core. My family ran from communism and came here in the 50s. We left Cuba and we came here. So we left that shit to come to America. And there was a reason for that. And I will fight for that. And I will serve my country, because I value my country. Gets me fucking choked up. It does. It gets me, it's like, yeah, it's weird. Anyways, maybe this isn't the best time to ask, but I'm interested in buying the Yamaha S3200. Yay or nay? I've got no idea, buddy. I'm OCD hi-fi guy, not standard audio guy. So what I mean is, I don't know anything about Yamaha or Denon or Marantz or Sony or um, Pioneer or Onkyo or any of that shit. None of that is anything I'm interested in, even in the least. So I don't even pay attention to it. I seek out things that are handmade, high level, bespoke, expensive audio. That's the stuff that I deal with. So I don't know. I mean, I would guess it's probably good. Any of that stuff to me, it's all the same. Whether it's Yamaha, Denon, Marantz, whatever, it's all the same shit. It's all Japanese mass-produced hi-fi, and I don't even consider it hi-fi. I'd say mass-produced home theater stuff or home audio stuff. So it's probably good. I don't know anything about it. But if you're swimming in those waters, you're probably safe with anything that you buy. So I would say Marantz might be a little bit better than a Yamaha. Different topic. Does audio analog AA DAC volume control preamp have very small volume steps? Yeah, quarter dB. I like to finally set the volume and late night low level, quarter dB. Another question. I know you say Fishers have value and TADs are more of a luxury premium buy, but is there anything the TAD do better than the Fishers sonically? They both have this, what they both have that is okay, so what the TAD's secret weapon is the mid-range. Okay, it's that dual concentric driver with the mid-range. It has a very good, and this is a very good mid-bass for a box speaker, for a wood speaker, which is what it is. But the Fisher & Fisher also has, that's why these are the two speakers that I carry, because so few speakers do mid-bass well. And the Fishers have it in spades as well. They do mid-bass extremely well. I would say the TADs are probably a touch more forgiving. I would say the Fishers, the TADs sweeten stuff a little bit, The Fishers are very transparent. They're not analytical. They're very smooth. They do detail and warmness together in a way. It's right in the middle. It's organic. So it sounds like real natural life, but it's not sharp. So it has all the detail, like to the nth degree, but no edginess. So the Fishers have that. Now the TAD, same thing. They have great, but they're a little bit more, almost a little sweeter than the Fishers are. They almost sweeten things a little bit. The TADs have more of a house sound. The Fishers more just get the hell out of the way. You don't hear the Fisher, whereas the TAD, you hear it a little bit. You listen to it, you go, okay, I see what it's doing. I got it. I'm hearing I'm picking up what it's laying down. The Fishers, you're just like, you just hear the music. You don't hear shit. There's nothing in the speaker that draws your attention to it. Whereas the TAD's sweetness draws your attention to it. You're like, oh, nice and sweet. So hopefully that sort of, let me know if that tells you what you want to hear. 8K. Did you find it? Last night you mentioned you didn't know what MPD3 was. It looks like a Playback Design Act from 2013. Handles only up to 2 DSD. Probably still sounds good. I'm sure it does, dude. And if it's $2,500, buy it. Okay? Buy it. $2,500. Anybody's listening, buy that shit. Don't be a dumbass. You won't find another one. And they don't come anywhere near $2,500. I mean, even the USB digital converter is $3,000 from Playback Design. So if you can get the whole damn DAC for $2,500, I would do it. If we don't have the money for a Playback Design stack, what is a good musical and also revealing DAC that you could recommend for around half the cost? Okay, so I have something for a quarter of the cost. I have something for $5,000 called an audio analog. And I've got probably 35 of those in the field. Everybody freaking loves them. And this one, people end up keeping. Like, I take everything back on trade and I'll give you something higher, and I'll get like MPD6s back for MPD8s. And I'll get DAC 07s back for AA DACs. But the AA DAC just fucking, excuse me, It just goes out there and it doesn't come back. It does. Nobody trades them in, so they're keeping them. That's what that means. I have yet to get one sent back to go to a higher DAC. Now, at half the price, which would be $13,000, I have something in right now that I'm going to test that is $11,500. It's a Meitner MA3i, and I will be testing that and listening to that, and then I'll give you my feedback on the MA3i. I'm hoping that it's going to be a great solution for $11,500. And I've got to get going in a second. Hour 15. Look at this. I've got to go pick up my Volvo. I'm just having the Polestar upgrade done to my V90. If anybody knows what that is, they're giving it. It's a computer upgrade that's going to give me more horsepower and more torque. And we're going to see how it is. So don't forget to ask me in the next live stream that'll happen on Sunday if it was worth whatever, the $1,500. And we'll see, but it should be good. More torque, more horsepower. I really want you to, for fun, play with an MSB in your room. Okay, cool, man. Send me one just to confirm the dislike or mind change. Yeah. Do you want to send me one? I can send you something in the meantime to use. Send me an MSB. I'm happy, by the way, to listen to things for people, but you just need to send it to me. Like this guy sent me the cable. You just need to send it to me. Don't try and email and discuss it, whatever. I mean, we can clearly, if you're sending me an MSB that's worth 10 grand or whatever, you're going to want to talk to me first and, all that kind of stuff. But just send me the shit and I will give you my opinion, man. Don't send me speakers. I'm not going to want to unpack speakers and do that shit. But if it's just a piece of gear, then I can do it. And DAC would be most interesting. And don't send me little cheap Chinese shit. If it's an MSB, sure. So don't send me inexpensive stuff. I'm not interested in that stuff. And I don't mean to be rude. It's just not where my interest lies. Great hybrid live stream, Mikey. I appreciate your covering your jury duty experience as well as handling audio gear questions. Yeah, man. Just thought I'd spend a little time with the tribe here. Is the AA DAC more soft smooth than MPD8? No. Bass not as tight? No. Soundstage smaller? Yes. Edge softer? No. If you compare with DCS MSB Chord, they have immediate clarity. AA DAC slightly behind the curtain? No. AA DAC has clarity, but it's got clarity the same way the MPD8 does, meaning it has great clarity, but it is not edgy. It's not strident. Like MSB and DCS and Chord can be edgy. Certain songs will be too much for your ears. They'll be too sharp, right? Depending on your recording. If you play a sharp recording, AA DAC is natural. It doesn't roll anything off. It doesn't cloak the imaging, but the imaging is better with the playback designs for sure. But it's not some just, I guess it is a big difference, but the AA DAC is pretty freaking good, Sven. I mean, I can't recommend it enough. And it's only $5,000. It's a lot different. All right, everybody, I got to bail because I got to get to the dealer, but to the Volvo dealer, not my drug dealer. I don't have one of those anymore. Anyways, probably because I was the guy. Yeah, so I will see you guys on Sunday. Everybody have a great weekend, and everybody enjoy the music, and I will talk to you soon. See ya.